Okay, hi brothers and sisters. Hopefully a short video here, nothing too strenuous for myself or for anybody else. But we've been studying on this channel about the controversy of Zion and what that's about. And we determined that that was about, really when you get looking at the language, the controversy is about a case before the court system, the law system, in particular in this case because it's biblical, the heavenly system, the heavenly court system. And so what we come to understand through our hard study, we've been at this study for 12 years studying, looking into the Old Testament to validate everything that we've been told was the truth from those on the pulpit who loves to believe in this idea of he, man, male. That's the image of God. She come out of him. Science would not support that. If he's made in his father's image and she came out of him, he simply has 33% less genetic material, number one, so he couldn't make her. Neither could father. She's made in her mother's image, and that's who did make her, and we've proven that. What we've also determined was that when the men of Israel of old divided the pleasant land known as the daughters of Israel, what happened is it broke down into two covenants, and you get your allegory as the Red Sea is what you see when you see her actually parting that to birth her children out through. And so, but what it represented was two covenant, one of blood and one of the truthful word of God, the water. You do not wash in blood, you wash in water. We've proven that. Now, about 2 years ago, I made a video, and it was concerning this word that I woke up straight, I just sat up. I just sat right up, and the blankets was actually over my face when I sat up, because they just kind of moved up and sat right up over my head. And it was out of a dead sleep that I woke up. And so once I threw the blankets down and I turned in, I look at my clock, it's read 3:52. So when I looked the word up, it meant, this is what it means. And this is going to launch us into this idea of a controversy in the case that she actually has to present, and she does, and there is evidence to prove that she absolutely does have to present her case in order for the release of the ransomed. Now that's how it's playing out. So 352, when I had looked it up, and I made a video on this, and like I said, I don't know, it might have been 2 years ago, it may not have been 2 years ago, so we're just kind of shooting there just to give you an idea that it has been a while. So 352, I woke up, that's what the clock read, and this is what it means in Greek. It means I raise myself. I look up. I am elated, to raise oneself up. If we scroll down, to unbend, rise, figuratively be elated. Now, what I didn't know, and I've seen this now, last night I woke up again, middle of the night, my eyes fell, it was 3:52. The night before that, I woke up also at 3:52. So I knew already what the word meant because I had done that video roughly, I think, about 2 years ago. But I had never really moved around too much in the words, which I've gotten in the habit of doing, moving back and forth in the words. So what happens when we move back one? Let's look at what it says. You know what it says, 351 Strong's Greek? It's an examination, noun feminine. Judicial examination, a preliminary inquiry. Look at that. Let's go down. Distinct from the actual crisis or trial, it says. An investigation, an examination. To roll up, to roll back, to examine, right? It's an examination of evidence in light of a case. that is before the courts of heaven, is what your idea is. If we keep going back, we'll keep going back. 350, to examine, to investigate, completing a process, which intensifies 2919, to select by separating and judging, properly to distinguish by vigorously judging down to up, closely examining, investigating through the process of careful study, to examine, investigate, to question, evaluation, and judgment, shows the process involved that takes the krino, which is judging or separating, up to its needed conclusion. Accordingly, 350 is often used in its forensic sense in the ancient world. It can even refer to examination by torture. So thoroughly examined, all right, even under duress, great duress. Question, discern, examine, search, scrutinize. By implication, investigate, interrogate, determine. We get the point. Search. All right, let's go back another one. Let's just see where this takes us. Back we go. 349. I shout aloud. I cry out. Okay, so we're just going to stop there. Okay, because we've stopped with going back on 352. So let's go forward and see what we learn. 352A, to roll away or back. 352B, to lift oneself up. 353, I take up, raise, I pick up, I take on board, I carry off, I lead away. I take up, receive, take up. Let's keep going, see what else. A taking up, a lifting up. Now, I don't think I went too much further than this. 354. I destroy, annihilate, expend, consume. All right, so we're getting destroy. All right, let's just remember that. I think that's all I went on this. Now, what I'm driving at is there's a sign in the heavens, and they're saying it's a sign of the coming of the Son of Man. Well, number one, if there was a man, and his name was Joshua in the Old Testament, and he died upholding her law, daughter Israel's law, and he was a man. But he would not have been the son of a man. He would not have been the son of man. He would have been the son of Israel. That's who he would have been. Or a daughter in Israel. That's who he would have been. All right? Of the woman's seed. He would have been a son of Israel. Now, what we determine by thorough investigation is that the sign that you're going to see is when the daughter of Israel herself, the daughter of Zion, is taken to the Ancient of Days, her mother, to present her case, and there she will be judged, and she will be gave back, according to Micah, she will be gave back the dominion of her kingdom. That's right, because it was always hers before they rejected the spirit of her covenant, which was not a harlot spirit that bowed to a religious idol in law. So I'm not doing a very good job of this, but this is what we're going to read. So they're saying there's a sign in the heavens, and there is a sign in the heavens, I believe, but it's not pointing to the coming of the Son of Man. It's pointing to the birth of the nation of Israel through the daughters reborn out of the dust of the earth. That's what you're seeing, the crown. She's the one that crowns him, which then leads us to that verse in Song of Songs. And for those who think this is all about a marriage covenant, it's not. It's got nothing to do with bride and bridegroom. It really doesn't. Because it says none will be gave in marriage, none will be taken in marriage. And we're going to examine that a little bit more through two words in particular in just a moment. But we're going to go to, where is it? If I can find it. I should have had this one pulled up, but it just hit me. What does it say? look at the allegory in this. It's not a marriage covenant per se, where she's in his house, in his bed, under his law, doing whatever his head tells her to do. That's not the covenant of God. That's the lie of the land in the harlot spirit in the land. So, Song of Songs 3:11. Come out and look, you daughters of Zion. Look on. King Solomon? No. I would have to say if there's something there, it's going to say the new Adam. All right? Or Joshua, we can say. Wearing his crown, but she is the crown. She's also the scepter. So she's literally the one actually crowned, and she is the one crowning him. All right? Once she's crowned. He can't be crowned without her being crowned. You get it? But they want to put it all about a man figure. That's it. That's all these allegories is ever to do with. A man, man, man. And that's those wicked men on the pulpit preaching themselves as God. That's all that is. So it says, look on the day of the new Adam, wearing the new crown, the new spirit. He's crowned with the new spirit, her, with which his mother, that's right, Israel, that's her name, Mother Israel from above, crowned him on the day of his wedding, the day his heart rejoiced. On his wedding day. All right. Wedding is not what you've been taught this wedding is. It's a covenant, yes, but it's not a marriage covenant per se in the conventional sense that we've been taught. A woman and a man in the same house. Well, it's typically his house, isn't it, is what we've been taught. And she comes under his law, under his head, and she must submit and do whatever he tells her to do. That was never the covenant of God. That's the harlot spirit in the land. So here we have this sign of the daughter of woman. Daughter Israel, once again, reborn in the land. Now when we go to Luke 21:28, this is what it says. It says, okay, we'll backtrack to 27. At that time they will see the Son of Man. They love this. Coming, and they had to even put son, and then they had to put man on top of it. You know, they're so in love with themselves. They're like literally just building each other up. That's what this is all about, and tearing her down. And it says, at that time they will see not the Son of Man, it's the daughter of woman, Israel, coming in a cloud with power and great glory. She's been given her host back, which we discussed goes from Proverbs 1, Mother Wisdom speaking. And that understanding, she says, when you will not listen to me, hearken to my words, wisdom, she speaks. It then takes us to the understanding of Psalm 2, when she says to her daughter, this day have I begotten thee. All right? And it's birth. I have birthed you. It's not a father doing it. It's the mother that you all turned your back on and deny and say it's Father that gave life to everything. Well, she says, in the day that you did that, I turned my back on you, right? When you turned to play man's harlot, or man determined that he was the godlike entity on this world and that you were all going to have to live under his law, and you willingly turned to that, and you did that, so I turned myself away from you, and I said, hey, you'll be no burden to me. You are no children of mine. I won't birth you. I won't deliver you. And that means to have her truth, her understanding of the law, of the truth in the land, of her spirit in the land. And that is the daughters reborn of the dust of the earth, holding that truth of their mother in their mouth, which is a sign that you are now bearing witness to. So when these things begin to happen, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. So I pulled these words up. You watch when we go in here, and I'm sorry I'm doing such a pathetic job. But there's one word here we're going to take a look at. I looked at all of them, but this is the word we're going to look at. It is redemption. The word is redemption that we're going to look at. And you know what it means? It means a release affected by payment of ransom. All right, let's define release. Well, release means allow or enable to escape from confinement, set free. Now understand, the Spirit led me through all of this simply by the last 2 nights I was waking up at 3:52. Now again, I had done this about 2 years ago, but it was now that she was choosing to really show me all of these things, and that my spirit was willing to really understand and to receive them unto myself as my own personal blessing. And I think that's something that we all have to do for ourselves. You have to personally want this personal relationship with the Holy One. You can't let somebody else tell you what it is. You actually have to. God says, you don't even know who I am, right? You approach to me with the vain traditions of those men, but you ought to know who I am in here. From your heart, you ought to know me. And you don't know me, she says. She says, depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. I never knew you, she says. So what's iniquity? Well, it tells us iniquity is shaped by the law. So what is she actually telling us when she says, depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity? I never knew you. Well, you're under his law. And by extension, you are committing the sins under those laws. All right? One of which is this lie of what a marriage covenant truly is. Well, what does it say? None will be gave in marriage. None will be taken in marriage. Number 2, you don't wash in blood. You wash in water, which flows from the Spirit, the wife of the original covenant, which was denied in the land. So he could put in play a harlot spirit. And this stone, which is the foundation, this false foundation that got laid to this religious, this dogma. It's a religious, they're dogmatic about it too. That male, father, son, and it don't matter which religion you want to move through. They're all the same. Male. And I'm talking to 3 main religions of the world. Yes, there's some offshoots that has a few females in it, sure. But the 3 major religions who professes to truly know God, to truly know where we went wrong or what the future holds, it is these main 3 religions that preaches man as God, and by extension puts a yoke on our neck. So, to release means allow or enable to escape from confinement. It means to be set free. So when we went back to this word 629, look up for your redemption, draweth nigh. The redemption here is a release effected by payment of ransom. And it's a feminine, not because she's being released by his blood, but because she is being released because she has finally set her case in order and has presented it to her mother. Now, what else do we have to validate that? Well, Isaiah 42, we've done this one many times. 14, I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and restrained myself. She is the restrainer in the land. But she says, now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. There we go with that word destroy, which we had just looked at in our words there. I will make waste mountains and hills, dry up all their herbs, and I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up their pools. I think that has to do with all your false doctrines and your lies. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths, that's straight paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and I will not forsake them. They shall be turned back, they shall be greatly ashamed that trusted in graven images, that say to the molten images which are male, ye are our gods. Now, for anybody who's been with me, you know all of these studies that we've done indicating what the idol was in Daniel 2. And it, of course, is a male god standing, your husband Baal. We've traced it all down. Now, when we move around in this word, 629, all right, which means a release effected by payment of ransom. So it means release effected by payment of ransom, redemption, deliverance. Well, okay. Well, let's go back to what we discovered deliverance was in the Old Testament. And that was Strong's Hebrew. Where is it? I had it up here. 344. Yeshua, feminine. And it means deliverance, hence, aid, victory, prosperity. Deliverance, help, helping, salvation, save, saving, help, welfare. Something saved. And this was the word in Greek, in Hebrew, in the Old Testament, 344. Feminine, Yeshua. All right, deliverance. And so we get the allegory of the Red Sea, of course, being parted and her delivering her children out through that Red Sea. She has to part the mixture of doctrine, right? And we've discovered all of that for ourselves by the last 12 years of hard study. It wasn't going by what they wrote in their commentaries, these men for thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever it may be, to subjugate women under their religious lie and law. And she also says it in Psalm 50, so we'll hit on this. She says, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy sister, me. You slanderest me, your own mother's daughter," because that's actually what's being done in the land. "These things you have done, and I kept silent." You see, it keeps taking us back to the feminine. And I've proven this because I've had videos on it. She says, "Long time have I held my peace. Now will I go forth. I will no longer be restrained in the land. I'm going to present my case." So she says, "These things thou hast done, and I kept silent." You thought I was a man just like you. Now, they've got it worded all out of context because actually anybody who can go in and study, you will understand that it was the divine feminine that they were actually gnashing upon, piercing upon, to remove the spirit of her covenant of the land so he could tear her house completely down, out of existence, build his own up, move her right in with him under this lying covenant that got split into two, that's right, wherein she became defiled in cohabitation. And there is a word, cohabitation. Actually, it is the word defiled. I had it pulled up. Strong's Hebrew, defile. All right. Well, this one's saying 1351. I don't know if that's the one. We'll go down here and see what it says. I didn't think it was this one. It may be. It may be Greek. Let me go down on this one. No. Sorry about this. But there is a word, it means defiled. It means to be defiled in cohabitation. And that's the current false covenant, lying covenant in the land, that a woman marries a man in matrimony. Okay, so we're going to look at that too. But if you move around in this word defile, now I can't remember. I did have the word up, and then of course I've lost everything because I had to wait so long. But if we go to Job 13:17, oh no. It is Strong's Greek 629. We're going to move around in this word, all right? This word salvation. Properly, redemption, literally buying back from, repurchasing, winning back what was previously forfeited and was lost. She says in Psalm 69, once we understand the Lord's number 136 is referencing the daughter of Israel herself, or daughter of Zion herself. Zion simply means a new branch. In this case, a new daughter that will be reborn out of the dust of the earth, and yet she says, I will choose you again. So we know that we're dealing with the spirit of hope, the spirit of truth, that you can never kill. Because if it was to die, everything would be destroyed. And so this spirit is always going to be reborn. It will always, hope will always win the day. And it will always be the hope that saves everything and proves the truth. And so Israel represents that hope. These daughters of Israel represents that hope, that redemption. And in this case, when she does present her case, she does win back what was lost, what was forfeited. And she says in Psalm 69, she says, I must restore back that which I took not away. I did not take the children away. But he gnashed upon the spirit of my righteous covenant to tear me down, to tear the truth of my mother down, and to put a yoke, which means a law upon law upon law on the daughters of Israel's necks. It says Judah will vex Israel. All right? And what it means is he put yoke upon yoke upon yoke on her neck that he wouldn't carry himself. He couldn't carry it. All right? So that's how we know woman is not the weaker sex. You don't yoke the weaker sex. You yoke the stronger one. Which is what he was after. He was after the goods in her house. He knew if he tore her house down, he'd end up with her goods. They speak of a firstborn son. They never speak of a firstborn daughter. And yet this creation would testify that the womb many times is opened by firstborn daughters. And it is the firstborn daughter that we identified as the firstborn of the kingdom. And he will never be crowned king without that spirit of Israel reborn in the land. Because she is literally the one that is crowned. Without her being crowned, he will never be crowned. And he knows that. He absolutely knows that. And that is the new spirit reborn out of the dust of the earth. So it means properly redemption, literally buying back, repurchasing, winning back. All right, what was lost. Let's go down here. Deliverance, redemption. All right. Ransomed in full. So let's scroll back. 628. For anybody who's watched my videos, what 628 says? To wash off. Wash away. What are you washing away? What does she say in Isaiah 4:4? She says, I will wash the blood off of my daughters of Zion, daughters of Israel. And you know what she's saying? I'm going to wash the lie off of you with my truth, with my water, with my word. If we keep going back, 627, a speech in defense. All right. So what does it say? It's a noun feminine, a speech in defense, a verbal defense, particularly in a law court, in a court of law. All right? So we know, she says, long time have I held my peace. And she says, now will I present my case and set it in order. Psalm 50. She says, these things has I done and I kept silent. You thought I was a man just like you. But I will reprove them. I will reprove you, Adam. You liar, you accuser. We link the name Satan straight back to Adam the accuser through a series of words. That's who it is. You know, we have a saying around here, I don't know if you've heard it, but when it rains, they'll say, the devil's beating his wife. Well, it just means Adam, the first Adam's beating his wife. It doesn't mean Satan, any special entity. It's just another name for Adam, the accuser, who accused the spirit of the original covenant. So he could gnash upon her, take her house out of existence, and steal her goods. That's why we get this idea, you are a thief. We keep hearing this, you thief, you thief. And the reason why he was a thief is because he stole her goods. That's right. That's exactly what he did. And we're going to base that on some words in the New Testament. All right, in a minute. I keep saying it. We're going to get to it. So she says, I kept silent, but I will reprove you, and I will set them in order before your eyes. Now consider this, you that have forgotten God. Now we identified who the presence of God was. She was the one who actually parted the waters. That's right. She's the power that parted the waters, this presence of God known as the daughters of Israel. And then it says, the waters covered over my footprints, and they were no longer seen. So in Isaiah 42, she says, now will I lead thee in pathways that you have not known and you have not seen. And it was her that the right hand, she's identified also as the right hand in the scriptures, that destroys Rahab. She dismembers, in a sense, this Leviathan, this monster, this sea monster. She dismembers him, is what it says. Rahab's another name for Egypt as well. So it's all factoring in there, which is why the witnesses also died in Egypt, Sodom and Egypt we get. Because we trace this religious lie of man as God, the idol, which is Baal, your husband, your bridegroom standing as your God, which was really out of Egypt, that bull god Apis, that solar calf deity. So we've understood all of these things. And she says, now consider this, you that have forgotten God, lest I tear you in pieces. That leads us to the lioness in Micah 4, out in the lands of the Gentile, and there will be none to deliver you. Whosoever offereth praises glorifieth me, and to those that ordereth their conversation aright will I show the true salvation of God too. It doesn't say true, but it says the salvation of God. And the salvation of God was never blood. God says, I ask no blood of you. Why would you think you got to wash in blood? Blood does not wash you clean. Blood stains you. And it's this idea, this is how the bondage got put on our necks, and that false foundation laid, that husband washes his sinful bride clean with his blood. Blood don't wash you. Your husband don't wash you no more than she was took out of him and formed by Father and created. No, you see, if that's the case, neither possessed enough genetic material to create woman. She holds 33% more genetic material. We also know she is the Spirit's representation simply by reading passages like Malachi chapter 2, like Song of Songs 4, 12 to 15, like Proverbs 5, and many other passages. We understand she is the Spirit's representation on this earth, which is feminine in nature. It is not male. And it is our mother who turned from us because we began to play as harlot. At least that was the accusation that Adam was making, Satan, the accuser, was making about us in this court of law. So she went silent. And we see actually Eve, when Adam accuses her, really not being able to defend herself. She just simply goes silent in the whole story eventually. There's just this silence. And no case is presented on her part. And yet we see her at one point, she must offer up her defense. And so this is her setting her case in order. It also takes us to the Koheleth in, Ecclesiastes chapter 12. That word preacher is your female assembler, which simply seems to be another name for your spirit assembling the truth in order to present as her in her case. Now, like I say, if we run out that salvation that we find in Luke 21:28, and we keep backtracking on Strong's Greek 629, we go to 628. Now we're in 627. It means intelligent reasoning, properly a well-reasoned reply, a thought-out response to adequately address the issues that is raised. And I can tell you, current day theology, the way they teach it off the pulpit, answers none of these questions and issues that are raised. It is up to her to present her case in order. It is her that must go in and retrieve her defense, right? By careful examination of the text, all right, before she is able to present it in her defense, all right? So, and this has to happen because this is about the controversy of Zion. And the controversy of Zion was about man splitting that covenant into two. He made a harlot that would bow to him, and she becomes the outcast that no man seeks a covenant with. That is what is stated, which then takes us to this deeper understanding of what is meant in Isaiah 54, is it? What does it say? Sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, thou that didst not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate spirit than of she who has a husband, or of the married wife, which we discovered was another name, Baal. So it simply meant that she's a harlot spirit in the sense, bowing to her husband in his house, his head on her body. I don't have a man's head. I have my own. So that's the strange thing that is also seen in the earth. A woman shall encompass a woman. That's the strange thing seen in the earth. The idea is she's actually circling her head. Protecting it is what she's doing it. For the first time in her adult life, because she's finally reached adulthood, or is become of an age where she should be understanding these things. And there's so many that do not choose to listen to wisdom and understand and put their case in order. And it says a reasoned defense is the term for making a legal defense in an ancient court. Today, 627 biblical apologetics is used for supplying evidence for the Christian faith. It's a very poor defense that they would have on that one, especially understanding and breaking down, all these Old Testament allegories, which simply don't reason out any other way. So it's a reasoned defense. It's her argument. So what we determined or come to understand the meaning of your stronghold meant, it meant your argument, your defense. And so when we look up the fortress of daughter Zion, the high tower, it has the idea of this neck area coming into play. And the reason why your defense, because it comes from your argument, all right? So that's why it says, but rather was a reasoned argument, a defense, all right? Your defense is your argument of reason that comes only from wisdom helping you to understand it. So it's a defense, it's a vindication, it's a verbal defense, it's a speech and defense. Answer for oneself, clearing of self-defense. From the same as apologiome, a plea, apology, answer for self, clearing of self and defense. So let's look this word up. So that's 626, so that's the next one from 627. To give an account of oneself, hence to defend oneself. I give a defense. I defend myself, especially in a law court. It can take an object of what is said in defense. So we know she had to present her case. She's been silent all this time. And only when she goes in and looks for the evidence, all right, under close scrutiny of the text, is she going to find her defense in there for herself. And long time have I held my peace. I can't talk. Long time have I restrained myself. Now will I go forth, and I will deliver my children. And she says, I must restore back that which I took not away. The Shulamite says, look not upon me, because the false light has looked upon me and made me black. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but my own vineyard. My own hosts. All right? They're my hosts. They're my children. Have I not kept? I haven't taught them. I've been playing a harlot in his house is what I've been doing. Instead of understanding what the truth was in the land. And once she takes it upon herself to do that, she is able to defend herself in the court of law. And she is given effective release because she is able to repay back what was taken away. Not by her. Regardless, she has to restore them. And you can only do that with the truth. So, answer for oneself, make a defense, to give an account, a legal plea of oneself. This is all about the controversy of Zion. So let's just pull this in. I wasn't going to do this. So I believe it's Isaiah 34, but we'll go. I can't remember. It's been so long. So we'll just do this. Which is what the day of the Lord is about, the controversy of Zion. The day of the Lord isn't about a man, hubby, coming to get you. None will be gave in marriage, none will be taken in marriage. That's what it says. And then you say, you're the bride, I'm the wife, Jesus is my husband, and all this foolishness of this lie in the land to get you to play his harlot and to get the little pat on the head, I'm willing to submit and bow to you. You're really king and God, and I better listen to everything out of a man's mouth off of the pulpit. Though he can't be bothered to go in and find that truth. It's only on her to do it. And that's why it's the seven thunders that utters the truth. That's female of the Spirit. The sevenfold Spirit of the Lord is what utters it. So it says, for the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of retribution to uphold Zion's cause. It should be the daughters of Zion's cause. For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. What's the King James? For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and a year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So what does the word controversy mean? Now we're just told right here what the day of the Lord is about. It's about the controversy of Zion. It's about the splitting of the pleasant land. The pleasant land was the daughters of Israel. And they divide that into two covenants. One, this big fat lie that's in the land known as the marriage covenant, where a woman must submit to a man as her head and basically play his harlot, is basically your understanding when you get doing your homework and your research. Yeah. When you actually look at all that proof that really is provided by the Spirit in there. But anyway, we'll get back to this because I just forgot my thought. What does it mean? Requital. 7966. Bribe. Recompense. Retribution. Acquittal. A reward. A secure retribution. A fee. A recompense. A reward. Keep going. To be complete or sound. So that took us actually to those words. Yeah, in the New Testament. Yeah. The year of recompenses. So that takes us to the daughter of woman being brought forth before the Ancient of Days, her mother, Wisdom, who was speaking to the world in Proverbs 1, which then takes us to Psalm 2. And she says, this day will you receive this decree. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me the nations, and I'll give the heathens to you. They're all yours to judge and to do with as you see fit. All right? And that's with her coming back into existence. It has to do with Israel being reborn out of the dust of the earth. That's what this sign is about. It's not about a man coming for his bride. Now, we could keep going here. But the controversy of Zion, and that may not have been the text I was looking for, but it is about a court case. It has all to do with a court case, the controversy. Let me see here. Okay, for the vindication. That may be the word I'm actually after, is vindication. So let's go back up here and just look at that word. Because they have a sneaky way of doing things here. Vengeance, let's look at vengeance. Vengeance. She proves her case, that is her vengeance. Revenge, avenged, quarrel, vengeance. We'll go back. It's usually also in the notes, caught in the notes somewhere for the cause. The dispute for the cause, 7379, the controversy of Zion for her cause. Strife, dispute, contention, controversy. Now, why would they give the other word as controversy when it's this word that's the controversy? Now, why would they do that? Did I have that right? Recompense. Yes, so maybe I did have the wrong word pulled up. For the cause, 7379, of Zion. For the dispute, the controversy of Zion. So if we go down, see, I didn't look up this one. Strife, quarrel, in words, a dispute, a case at law. All right? So this has been pending for a long time. Why she gathers the evidence over time. So we see what the day of the Lord is about. It's about this court case and the dividing of the covenant of God into these two covenants, to the point where he says, oh, well, Nashapon will take the spirit of her covenant out, will take her house out. So what did we see? It says, who shall ascend into my holy hill? Now they want to put a man there. Well, it's she with clean hands and a pure heart. And she alone can ascend to her mother's house and claim her mother's house. Just as we find in these words. So let's move on here, and I'm going to finish up on these, I think. This word right here. 2817. Kleronomia. It's a feminine word. It's Strong's Greek. It means an inheritance. An inheritance. Inheritance. Regularly the gift of God to his, not to her, chosen people. In the Old Testament, go study it. Yeah. The promised land in New Testament, a possession viewed in one sense as present, in another as future, a shared participation. But she had her own house. She didn't have to live with him. She didn't have to use his head for her head. No. You see, what we understood was in Isaiah 47, the harlot Babylon says, no one sees me. I will never be widowless. I will never be childless. And the reason why no one sees her, Babylon the harlot, is because she's hid in his heart. So if men, they tell us men's are hid and that harlot's head is hid in his heart, what does that make you, girls? Well, it means you better get your own head, is what it means. And you better figure it out, and you better present your case in order, arranged, set in order, to your Ancient of Days, your mother, who turned her back on you to give you time. That's right. So, cognate 2817, feminine noun, an heir, apportioned inheritance by the casting of lots. Inheritance awarded by divine lot, the portion God assigns or selects, right? Inheritance. Let's continue down here. Let's scroll down here. Heirship. Concretely, pay attention here. Patrimony. Now, there's a word. Patrimony. You know what I thought of? Another word. Matrimony. There's the other word. Who shall ascend into my holy hill? Man ain't gonna claim mother's goods. Nope. But let's look at this heirship concretely, a patrimony or genitive case, a possession, an inheritance. So what's the meaning of patrimony? Well, patrimony means property inherited from one's father or male ancestor. Oh, look at that. Property inherited from one's father, yeah, or male ancestry. And that's the word patrimony. What do you suppose matrimony might mean? Wait. Let's see what the Wicked World's definition is of matrimony. Let's see what it says. Do we know what it means? Of course we do. Of course we do. Meaning of matrimony. Oh, I'm so in love. The state or ceremony of being married. Yeah. A woman to a man in his house, in his bed, under his law system. He's your head, girls. That's marriage. That's matrimony. No, you know what I'm going to tell you? Who shall ascend into my holy hill? She, with clean hands and a pure heart. That was the Shulamite. And a pure heart. You know what she's saying? Who am I going to leave my house to? Who? I'm only going to leave it to the one that speaks my truth in the land. I'm not going to leave it to a harlot. She says, I'll take no branch from you harlots. That's bowing to a man saying, he's your Lord and your God. When you turn from me. So what would matrimony mean? Property inherited from one's mother or female ancestry. The house that he tore down and stole. That's right. But we see it in construction in Song of Songs 8, when she begins to nourish her children with her mother's truth. That's who will ascend into the holy hill. That's who will claim her mother's house. The daughter of Israel speaking the truth in the land with her court case set in order. That's who. That's right. That's what the day of the Lord is about. And that sign in the heavens is saying, I'm going to crown my daughter. That's what it's saying. Oh, but everything's about a man and a father. Well, they tore her house down. Made you a harlot. None will be gave in marriage, none will be taken in marriage. He stole all your possessions and your goods. That's right, that's what destroying her temple was all about. We see them cutting these trees down in Psalm 74. They were like axemen welding axes in a forest. But what does it say? She says, since, where is it? We'll read this and we'll be done. Isaiah 14. 14 here. What does she say? For anybody who actually studies and knows the Bible. Of course you can't. There it is. Okay. So what does these daughters say? Where is it? So it says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Verse 7. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller has come up against us. So we took that woodcutter, that's the word for feller here, a woodcutter, and it'll lead you to Psalm 74, where they were destroying their temples out of existence, or houses, the women's houses out of existence. We see them destroying all the feminine representation of the God aspect in the Godhead. You are without excuse not to understand my Godhead and manifested it in what I created for your eyes to bear witness to. Then they tell us he. But the truth is, if he's truly made in his Father's image, and it says the tabernacle below does so reflect the one above. Moses was told that himself. That's right. He says, the tabernacle that I am to construct is the one based on the one in the heavens. We understood the tabernacle to be a reflection of our bodies. Well, I do not tabernacle in a male body. As a matter of fact, his male body cannot give life to this female body because I do possess 33% more genetic material. I am different than him. I am designed for a different purpose, and only my mother could give life to me. My father cannot, no more than father could give life to him. Mother is the creator of all things. She is the one that gave life to all things. She turned away from us, and she says, don't worry. You'll be no burden to me. I won't deliver you, because you know why? You're not my children. You don't even know me. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. You want a marriage covenant where you play a man's harlot? You go for it, girls. You want a man to be your head and to rule over you? You have not learned your lesson yet, have you? You haven't. So, but it says, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. So we have done all of these verses and passages. We have linked them all together. And I actually didn't mean for it to be this long. I planned on it being just a quick little video. To connect it to 352, I've been receiving messages from the Holy Spirit. I've not been in the Word like I want it to be, so she chose this time to reveal these things to me. I'm willing to receive them. I am. And I know it's the Holy One speaking to me. I have a personal relationship with the Holy Spirit. I have a personal relationship with my mother. I don't need nobody to teach me what that's about. My heart will do it. My soul will do it. My spirit will do it. My own reasoning from wisdom will do it. I don't need a man on the pulpit to teach me that. I don't need a man telling me what I can and cannot do. I do not need him writing laws telling me that. God gave me those rights, not a man. So, thanks for watching. I pray the Lord blesses you with an abundance of her waters, her truth, and I hope y'all have a really nice day. And thanks for watching.